Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, how do we process when something like this happens? It's called satyagraha. The truth. We have to be able to address the truth. That's the truth as spoken by blood-stained women who had just seen their husbands, partners shot at point blank range in the head after being asked what their name was to identify their religion, and then the women were told, "We are leaving you alive so that you can go tell Modi." Now that's the truth. So the truth is that the people were killed because they were Hindu. So here we are. How do we now process this? What comes to mind? What comes to mind is, one is thinking, I wish somebody had a gun there. They could have at least fought back. But many of us are thinking that we've just been told that yes, indeed, terror has a religion, and that's an unconscionable thought. None of us want to believe it, but that's what we've just been told. Let's have this difficult conversation. Gautam Mukherjee is with us. Surinder Singh Lali is with us as well. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal joining us on the broadcast as well. Gautam Mukherjee, let me begin with you, sir. So we will have to put ourselves sitting in a tea shop next to a garden vale in a very picturesque tree-lined area of Pahalgam with our wives and children, and somebody with a gun grabs you by the collar and says, "What is your name?" Do you lie? Do you say, "My name is Muhammad or Kabir," or do you tell the truth and get shot? What do you do, Gautam Mukherjee, if you and I were in that position?
Well, naturally, you would, just state your name and in this instance, end up shot. This is the kind of thing that happens again and again and again. Here it is to tourists. Other times it is, migrant workers who are Hindus. Other times it is visiting, the last time when Clinton was here, 36 were selected and shot. And every time our response is localized. We catch or attempt to catch the terrorists. We do combing out operations. We try and find out if there are more of them around. And that's it. Apart from Pulwama, we have never taken the battle to the enemy.
I want to ask the larger question in a second, but I want to establish in premise whether this is a thing or it's a figment of people's imagination? Were these people killed because they were Hindu?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is right in keeping with Asif Munir's speech, his hateful speech made a couple of days before the incident, in which he spewed hate against Hindus.
So, for those people,
and
Gautam
acted as a
Mukherjee,
catalyst.
who very reasonably are not terrorists, okay, who say that terrorism has no religion, that these people are not representing Muslims, they got nothing to do with Islam, how do we digest the fact that they were out to kill Hindus?
Because they are Pakistanis. Let's be very simple about this. This incident has hurt the Kashmiri. Now there won't be tourists. Now there won't be pilgrims. The poor in Kashmir, the shopkeepers, the ghodawalas, all these people will be badly affected. It will be years, perhaps, before the hotelwalas, the shikarawalas. Now, it'll be years before it normalizes, because what appeared to be normal last year has been shattered. And who is going to pay the bill? The Kashmiri.
Okay,
The
yeah,
Muslim
like I said,
Kashmiri
there
and the
are
Valley.
larger conversations. I'm just trying to establish a simple conversation, okay? Because it is very reasonable to say that in our nomenclature, in our cognomens, in the way we do referrals, that we should not be creating, absolutely not be creating an assumption that Islam is nurturing terrorism. No, it is a fact that terrorist states are nurturing terrorism. But when something like this happens, what do we do? What nomenclature do we use? Let me put that to Mr. Lali. Mr. Lali, so I am giving you the premise that we should not be circulating, percolating, conversing that, look, Islamic ideology is producing extremism and terrorism that is losing lives to terrorism. So we should not be doing that. But when something like this happens and billions of people are now watching the same videos which you and I have seen, everybody's seen them now, of a young lady, she's got chudas, okay. There's another slightly elderly woman, she's wearing Mang Mein Sindoor, and both of them are telling us that we were sitting, we were having Bhel Puri, and somebody came and asked my husband, what's your name? He answered, and he was shot. Then they looked at me and they said, go tell Modi. So what nomenclature do we put to this, sir?
It's an all-out war. It's an attack on Sanatan, it's an attack on Hinduism, and it's an attack on the Republic of India. I don't care what religion, is peaceful or not. But for some reason, how come most terrorists happen to be from a certain religion? So, people can go and do their math there. But Mr. Gulati, I think now, honestly, now I doubt myself. What forbids us? What holds us back? The way Asim Munir spoke last week, what else do we want to be written on the wall so that we can go back and ghuske mare? I don't care how we do it. I don't care when we do it. But now the Kadi Ninda days in Europe and America has expressed their condolences. I don't care. If we don't help ourselves, America doesn't look for creating a consensus to do what they had to do, be it Iraq or Afghanistan. They only went after their interest. So now I think it's about time. It's about time before the likes of me, start losing respect for ourselves. Because if we don't do it now, when will be? It's an act of war. My heart bled. My heart literally bled to see the wife of Naval Officer Vinay Narwal just 45 minutes ago on TV. Why do we deserve this? We need to get off our backsides and now take it to the level where we don't then blame ourselves for it. So I think it's about time that now we need to give it back, and the world will have to lobby or stand or sit or support us, because if we don't help ourselves, who will?
Ambassador Dayal, this is the circumstance of the events as narrated by the shocked and grieving wives of the people who were killed minutes after they were killed. I don't think they were even registering what had just happened, because in one video you can try to see them offering water to a man who's been shot in the head. He is beyond the capacity of taking a sip. So these people, were they killed because they were Hindu, sir?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. I will have to exit very soon because I have to be on another channel.
Fair enough, sir.
But let me be very brief. You know, I served in Pakistan in the early 1980s, and I witnessed how hate against India in general and Hindus in particular was being spread through the official system. Madrasas were, of course, encouraged, but the government was doing everything possible to promote hatred towards Hindus. Now, what has happened is that over time, this process has only increased. The hatred for Hindus is on the increase. Now, Pakistan has been saying that we will bleed India by 1,000 cuts. In fact, their prominent army chiefs and other political leaders have openly used this expression, we will bleed India by 1,000 cuts. Now, the fact of the matter is that there cannot be a change of heart or a change of mind where Pakistan is concerned. I've seen them all these years, through these decades, their policy remains the same. There is a saying in Hindi, कि कुत्ते की दुम सीधी नहीं की जा सकती. That is the reality where Pakistan is concerned. You cannot get it to change its policy. We have to be bold.
That's fair enough, sir. But again,
action.
we're missing the humanity of this question, and I'm going to, beg you to, at least consider it. If you were sitting there on that field, and if you had given your name as Prabhu, we would not be having this conversation. But if you had given your name as Imtiaz or Ali, you would have walked away. So were these people killed because they were Hindu?
Yes, of course. They were singled out. They were, identified and then killed. This clearly shows that a message was being sent across that Hindus will be targeted in Jammu and Kashmir. I'm afraid that the administration, the current administration in that state, has not been able to take the right kind of steps. There should have been more security, but we will now have to make sure that appropriate retaliatory action is taken. Of course, everything is on the cards. There is no hurry. The government will plan and decide what it wants to do. But I would only like to add that we have to encourage and support the separatist elements in Pakistan, such as the Baluch Liberation Front, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. We must assist them because there is an old saying, your enemy's enemy is your friend. We have to assist these people because they will help in weakening Pakistan. If Pakistan is broken up, so much the better.
Okay, fair enough. I know you got to go, sir, so I'll let you take your leave. I, in principle, agree with what you're saying, and there are many ways in which wars are fought. There are many ways in which action is taken. Some of them we'll know, some of them we'll find out many, many decades later. So, yes, is Pakistan already bleeding from 1,000 cuts? The answer is yes. But let me get in Gautam Mukherjee. We have more reactions coming in from the ground. I believe the Home Minister is also going to be reacting shortly. But before that, Gautam Mukherjee, so if the premise is, and I beg you to indulge me in this chain of thought, if the premise is that yes, these people were specifically targeted by name and they were murdered for being Hindu, what do we then say to the remaining 1 billion Hindus in this country?
We should clearly, the government should make its plans to punish the offending state of Pakistan, because it is principally, there might be local collaborators, but basically it is Pakistan that is anti-Hindu, not the Indian Muslim. The Indian Muslim has been living cheek by jowl with a 70-80% majority, and in the main, it has been successful. There are many Indian Muslims who are in prominent positions and have done the country proud. So it isn't, and we have excellent relationships with many countries in the Middle East and North Africa. So it isn't about Hindu Muslim, except in the narrow context of Pakistan determined to be anti Hindu and talking of this being their basic raison d'etre, the reviving the two nation theory. They must be punished in no uncertain terms. I believe POK and Gilgit-Baltistan should be taken back. So once, if that is accomplished, any further attacks will have to emanate from Pakistani soil itself, and they won't have terrorist hideouts all over POK. Right now, they must have run back into Pakistan, anticipating retaliation. But we must take this back so that next time there's an attack, we'll go to Rawalpindi, we'll go to Islamabad and teach them a lesson.
But ladies and gentlemen, something different has happened. And Mr. Lali, we've had the unfortunate lifetime of having lived through too much of this in Delhi and Hyderabad and Bangalore and Bombay. Terror attacks, bomb blasts. I mean, there were 3-day siege that happened in Mumbai. And the modus operandi is known to us. It was somebody comes with a tiffin box on a bicycle and parks it in a market and blows it up. That was the modus operandi for years and years, decades. Mumbai 2611 brought us a new modus operandi, that you bring in 10 men with guns and they lay siege to India's financial capital for several days. What we are witnessing here, but even then, when they were targeting the Chabad house, which means they were specifically targeting Jews, they were targeting foreigners because they were asking people their nationalities, and Americans were killed as well. We are seeing a new modus operandi here, where this is not a bomb blast that happens to target whoever was passing by. This is a cold-blooded, calculated, murderous attempt. How do we process this? Because it is different, it's not the same, sir.
Mr. Gulati, I lost my grandmother only because once we moved from Rawalpindi in Pakistan, my father was 7 years old. And when from being in very affluent family, because most of us Punjabis were traders. And when she saw that her 9-year-old son, my father, used to take pictures outside the Red Fort, and when he had to process them, he had to dip his hands into that acid, because that time we didn't have these 3D printers and everything, and he would get eczema. So my grandmother died because of this two-nation theory, because two individuals in their ego tussle created two different nations. And I think after Asim Munir's speech, I think we're still standing at 1947. We're still back to where we started. But, the other thing which, the Honorable Ambassador also said, Mr. Gulati, I've been to Pakistan 5 times because of, Guru Nanak's Panja Sahib and Nankana. It's the whole building which was made without a map, without an architecture, without a structural engineer. The only basis on which Pakistan was made was their pathological hatred for Yud and Hanood. I don't think even Pakistanis now can, go back on it, because they've taken this Frankenstein's monster too far. So the entire basis of Pakistan is hatred for Hindu, for their Murti Puja, or for whatever they find different that we practice from Islam. So the whole country is built. They don't have an ideology of them anymore. One last point, Mr. Gulati. I don't think Pakistan is just in a financial crisis. I mean, the GDP of Pakistan is less than that of Maharashtra. I don't think Pakistan is in a in a political crisis. I mean, no prime minister has ever completed a term. It's an identity crisis because they're not even the kind of Muslims they've claimed to be. Their Islam is only based on hating Muslims, Hindus, and then Yahud. So it's a madhouse that we have next to us, and I absolutely agree with Mr. Mukherjee, is that not only should we take POK and Gilgit-Baltistan back, we should go ahead and help Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
The full story will come out, but I want this. I want us to be able to face the truth, and us means all of us. India, like any Indian, knows, and only Indians know this. Rihanna doesn't know this, sorry. Okay. But where I am sitting right now, less than 10 meters away, is a mosque where Friday prayers happen. And every time I am holding an edit meeting, I have to wait until the azan finishes. We all grew up like this. This is perfectly normal for us. Nobody lives in fear. But we have to be able to face the truth. There are people who've been sent in from a place, and they've been sent in to do something which was different. Now, this information will come out shortly. But we've been told by some of the survivors and eyewitnesses that they were stripping the men. Do you know why in certain parts of the world men are stripped so that their religion can be identified whether they are circumcised or not? Now, if that was the case, this is not a person who put a bomb or started firing indiscriminately. And if we have to face the truth and address the truth, no matter how unconscionable or difficult to digest it will be. And we've had in many times in the past to deal with such difficult truths. This is what happened. How we respond to it, how we process it, what nomenclature we add to it, what semantics we use, now have to be reassessed, redefined, as is our response. I thank my guests. Before we take a break, we have breaking developments coming in on this because India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has now come out and spoken. Remember, there is a Cabinet Committee of Security meeting which is scheduled, which he'll be attending. Home Minister Amit Shah, who was meeting with those who had been injured and have survived in various hospitals in the region, will be travelling back to Delhi to attend this meeting, which of course will be under the chairmanship of India's Prime Minister. Are we able to listen in to what he said? Let's listen in.
आतंकवादियों द्वारा किए गए कायरतापूर्ण हमले में हमारे देश ने अनेक निर्दोष नागरिकों को खोया है। इस घोर अमानवीय कृत्य से हम सभी गहरे शोक और दर्द में हैं। सबसे पहले मैं उन सभी परिवारों के प्रति अपनी गहरी संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं जिन्होंने अपने प्रियजनों को खोया है। इस दुखद समय में दिवंगत आत्माओं की शांति के लिए मैं परमात्मा से प्रार्थना करता हूं। यहां मैं भारत के दृढ़ संकल्प को दोहराना चाहूंगा कि टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हमारी जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी है। भारत का एक एक नागरिक इस कायरतापूर्ण हरकत के खिलाफ एकजुट है। मैं इस मंच से देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करता हूं, घटना के मद्देनजर भारत सरकार वो हर कदम उठाएगी जो जरूरी और उपयुक्त होगा।